What's up, everybody? Thinker St. James here with another tragic piece of news to report in the world of MMA and in the life of Francis Ngannou. When I started this channel, I thought it was going to mostly be comedy and a little bit of tragedy. Unfortunately, as of late, tragedy has tipped the scales. Certainly in the life of Francis Ngannou, that seems to be the case. A lot of news outlets are reporting on this story, even though there aren't that many concrete details that have come out. But most of the outlets that are reporting on it are referencing this article, I believe. So I went to the source, and I'll read this here, add a little bit of context based on what I could find. But as I said, there's not that much information beyond what's in here. So let's take a look at it. This is from CameroonOnline.org, which, to the best of my ability searching it out, seems to be a reputable news source for the country of Cameroon. The article starts with the headline, Tragedy in Yaoundé. Francis Ngannou reportedly involved in fatal accident. A tragic incident involving Cameroonian mixed martial artist and professional boxer Francis Ngannou has come to light following reports widely circulated on social media. Ngannou, who currently competes in the heavyweight division of the Professional Fighters League, or PFL, was allegedly involved in a motor vehicle accident that led to the death of a young woman named Nsama Bridget Manuela. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. So this story apparently was being talked about on social media before it was officially reported, came to light through, I guess, firsthand recollections and accounts, and was then reported on thereafter. The accident reportedly occurred during the Easter weekend in the Omnisports neighborhood of Yaoundé. I was curious what the Omnisports neighborhood meant, so I did a little bit of research here, and according to Google, in Cameroon, Omnisports generally refers to multi-purpose sports stadiums that host various events, including football matches, athletics, and other sports. So I guess anywhere with one of these multi-purpose stadiums, they call that just an Omnisports area or region, and specifically the one in Yaoundé is the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. And looking that up, obviously I'm not very well versed in the geographic layout of Cameroon, but this is highlighting where the stadium is, and Yaoundé is here, so I would assume that this larger area is all Yaoundé, and the incident took place somewhere surrounding here. There are conflicting accounts regarding the exact circumstances of the incident. Some reports claim that Ngannou's vehicle collided with a motorcycle carrying 17-year-old Nsama Bridget Manuela, while others allege that Ngannou himself was riding a motorcycle that struck the young woman. That's only one of a few conflicting reports, because there's that, and then there's also been outlets claiming that this victim was 22 years old as opposed to 17 years old. So still a little bit of uncertainty as to what the truth of the matter is, it would seem. She suffered multiple fractures and required urgent surgical intervention due to the severity of her injuries. Sadly, she passed away around the time of the procedure. Tragic, obviously. Regardless of what the actual nuts and bolts of how it happened were, the fact that this young lady lost her life is terrible news. Despite the accident occurring several days ago, no official statement became public until the victim's death. It has been reported that Francis Ngannou covered the full hospitalization costs for the young woman, but questions are now being raised regarding the silence surrounding the event. Many observers are questioning why Ngannou chose not to address the incident on his social media platforms, where he maintains a significant presence. It's a good question, I suppose. There could be a number of different reasons as to why he hasn't made a statement yet. With loss of life and him being a high-profile athlete, this could be on the advice of legal counsel. He could be trying to formulate a proper response. He could be rather shooken up and disturbed by it himself, obviously. It's a terrible, horrible tragedy that this young woman lost her life, and it's now something that, one way or another, whether he was responsible or not, Francis Ngannou, being involved in this accident, now has to live with for the rest of his life. People are asking questions now that the information is coming out. I would assume that Francis is collecting himself and formulating the appropriate response in his mind. An official investigation is currently underway to determine the fullest circumstances surrounding the fatal accident. As the investigation progresses, many await further clarification on the events that transpired and the decisions made in the aftermath. I think everybody wants to know exactly what happened and what extent Francis played a role in it. Obviously, either way, it's not going to bring back this young woman, but some clarity could certainly be helpful to the MMA community and the broader world, the Cameroonian community as well, of course. So it's terrible either way, but some understanding of what happened could be beneficial in some capacity, I would venture to say. Family urges removal of sensitive images. As images of the deceased victim in her hospital bed continue to circulate, the family, video below, is respectfully requesting that individuals refrain from sharing and remove these photos from social media, as their continued circulation causes significant pain to a family still mourning their loss. Yeah, that was a disturbing detail of all of this. Obviously, there's morbid curiosity. People gawk at car accidents all the time. People are fascinated by death. It's, I guess, human nature to kind of look through your fingers, covering your eyes, but still taking a peek at disturbing imagery like that. But it's important to still remember that this is a human being we're talking about and a family in mourning, of course. I have not seen the images in question here. I have not sought them out. I would encourage anyone who has that curiosity to refrain out of respect for this family. And I don't speak French, which I believe is the language being spoken here, I'm fairly certain. But I will play this video in its entirety just so anyone who does speak French can get the full context based on what this family member is saying here.
Bonsoir, je suis Patrick Onana, le grand frère de la jeune Manuela Onana Tiama Brigitte, qui nous a quittés dans la nuit de dimanche. Vraiment, nous demandons à Monsieur Zumento, au nom de toute ma famille, de bien vouloir enlever les images de notre petite sœur qui est décédée la nuit de dimanche à lundi de suite d'un accident de moto devant le stade Omnisport. Nous demandons à Monsieur Zumento de bien vouloir arrêter la publication des images de notre petite sœur, car cela affecte beaucoup notre famille et surtout notre mère qui est dans un mauvais état depuis le décès de notre petite sœur. Nous avons vu ces images sur la toile dans un direct de M. Zumento et nous avons été trop choqués. Vraiment de grâce à tous ceux et celles qui ont décidé de partager ces images. S'il vous plaît, au nom de toute la famille Onana, nous vous demandons d'arrêter la publication de ces images vraiment qui nous font mal et qui augmentent notre douleur et notre chagrin. Merci pour votre bonne compréhension.
So that's the information that we have right now. The full extent of Francis Ngannou's involvement in this incident is not yet known. As a fan of Francis, I hope he was not the cause of this incident. Either way, this is a very tragic and horrific thing to have happen in an already very tough and tragic life that Francis has led. If you know anything about Francis Ngannou's backstory, he went through tremendous hardship to make it out of Cameroon, had to be smuggled and crossed oceans, and it was a very hard journey that he had to get himself even to be able to compete in mixed martial arts in the first place. Friend of the channel, Mixed Molly Wapari, did a great video detailing the struggles that Francis went through on his journey from Cameroon to France, which I'll link in the description of this video if you're interested in the details of that. And then on top of that, the also extremely tragic loss of his infant son last year puts just such a terrible rain cloud over the life of Francis Ngannou, who has done such tremendous things in the world of sports, but outside of it shows that even with the highest of the highs in achievement, life still finds a way to sometimes deal you a tremendous amount of difficulty. So once we know more, maybe I'll post a follow-up depending on what that information is. We'll probably talk about it on the podcast on this channel, last week's fights. Myself and Chase Parton touched on it a little bit on the last episode, and we'll update you there as well. One way or another, this is just really unfortunate information and very much a complete and utter tragedy. So rest in peace to Natsama Bridget Manuela. Hopefully there's some more information that can shed light on exactly what happened, but I don't think that anything good can come out of this, sadly. For Yelling About Mixed Martial Arts, this is Thinker St. James. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.